James Mayer Jr. was the son of Richland County Common Pleas Court Judge James Mayer Sr. He was the Richland County Prosecutor from 1990 until his death by suicide in 2014. Prosecutor Mayer wrongfully prosecuted a lot of people. For an account on how he maliciously and wrongfully prosecuted me during his first year in office, please watch my video, The Crooked Prosecutor, Part 1. In the spring of 2022, my ghost hunting friend Dustin and I visited Mr. Mayer's grave at the Windsor Cemetery in Mansfield, Ohio. I had a lot of questions I wanted to ask the Crooked Prosecutor. As you will see in the following video clip, I set the K2 meter at the base of Mr. Mayer's headstone and explained to him that he could make the lights on it come on by touching it. As shown in this screenshot, Mr. Mayer demonstrated that he understood what I was requesting by making the K2 meter flicker. He must not have liked my questions, because he refused to answer each and every one, despite my telling him that I wasn't going away and would continue asking him the hard questions.
Mr. Mayer, I'm going to ask you some questions. If you could come up to the K2 meter and touch it, it'll make it light up. Okay, I think you understand. Okay, is this James Mayer, former Richland County Prosecutor? Light the meter up if you're James Mayer, former Richland County Prosecutor. Is this someone else? Light the meter up if it's someone else. I know someone's there because you just lit up. Okay, do you remember me? Former correction officer and chief union steward at the Ohio State Reformatory, who you maliciously and wrongfully prosecuted for theft in office back in 1990? Light the meter up if you remember that case. Okay, do you remember meeting with the late State Representative Frank Sawyer, the late then retired Mansfield attorney E.A. White, my friend Bob Kryling, on my behalf just days after my indictment was on the front page of the newspaper? Do you remember meeting with them? I'm not going away, I'm still going to ask these questions. Do you remember them providing you with exculpatory evidence that proved my innocence? Do you remember assuring them that it's not your intent to prosecute an innocent man, and that you'd check out the evidence given to you, and if it checked out, you'd drop the charges against me and issue a public apology? Do you remember that? Did you ever lift a finger to verify that the exculpatory evidence they gave you proved my innocence? Do you have any remorse for having lied to my friends about the public apology and instead aggressively prosecuting me, knowing full well that I was innocent? Are you the one who made the petty decision to pursue misdemeanor charges through the Mansfield Municipal Court after the felony charges against me were dismissed by the Richland County Common Pleas Court? Do you care that you put my family and me through a lot of needless stress, as well as the expense of having to hire an attorney? Well, personally, I think you're a coward for not answering, because you lit that meter up when I first got here.
In the following clip, you'll see that Mr. Mayer did not take advantage of my generous offer to let him redeem himself by apologizing to me for the purposeful wrong he had done my family and me back in 1990, despite his having promised my State Representative Frank Sawyer and others at the time that he would drop his frivolous criminal charges against me and issue a public apology upon verifying the ample exculpatory evidence that had been provided to him.
Do you care to apologize? I know you can't make a public apology, but I went through a lot. It was a stressful 6 months. Okay, we're going to turn it off. Go ahead and turn it off.
At the end of my first visit, I informed Mr. Mayer that I would be back. About a week later, my godson Thomas and I returned to his grave at the Windsor Cemetery to see if we could get him to answer my unanswered questions. To our surprise, he responded to most of my questions, but only after calling me an idiot through Thomas's necrophonic spirit box. I suppose the name-calling was his way of getting even with me for having called him a coward for refusing to answer any of my questions during my previous visit.
Prosecutor Mayer, are you here? Before I turned the camera on, you lit up the K2 meter. Can you light it up again? I was wondering if maybe you could answer the questions that you didn't answer last time. Okay, Mr. Mayor. Thomas, hello, I see you're lighting up. Thomas brought his app on his phone. You could talk to us through that too. Okay, do you understand? Light the meter up if you understand. Sound like you said idiot. Is that what you said? Can you turn that up here?
That's as loud as it goes.
Okay, just stay close to it so we can hear. But we'll be recording that too. Okay, Mr. Mayor, you remember me? I'm the guy that was the chief union steward at the reformatory. You remember me? Okay, you prosecuted me for theft in office. Okay. Do you remember meeting with State Representative Frank Sawyer and Attorney E.A. White and Bob Crowley? Do you remember them giving you evidence that proved that I wasn't guilty? Do you remember telling them that you wouldn't prosecute an innocent man? But you still prosecuted me, didn't you? Do you remember them giving you evidence? Did you ever lift a finger to check out the evidence? As I recall, you told them that you'd check it out, and if it checked out, you'd issue a public apology and drop the charges. You didn't do that, did you? Are you the one that made the decision to, after the common police court threw my case out, to make the decision to go to municipal court and try to charge me on misdemeanor charges? Was that you that made that decision? Do you have any remorse for lying to my friends about making a public apology and then not making it? Do you feel guilty for what you did to me and what you put my family through? Any of the other people you maliciously prosecuted knowing they weren't guilty? Do you remember a Glenn Tinney? Does that name ring a bell? Does that name rings a bell? He's the one that your investigator got to sign 5, count them 5, confessions. He served 20 years in prison for a crime he didn't do. Yeah, that was Mr. Glenn Tinney. You know, Mr. Tinney got some attorneys and they filed a lawsuit against you. Shortly after that, you took your life. Did that lawsuit have anything to do with that? A little? Was there something else going on in your personal life? Okay, well, I'm sorry. You know, I forgave you years ago for what you did to me, even though you didn't apologize and you didn't ask it. Are you at peace now? I can't see. Are you at peace now? Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, that's all the questions I really had for you. Do you want to talk to us through this app up here? Bring it up here. Do you have anything you want to say to us? Can you say you're sorry over this app? these lights down here. Okay, you trying to tell us something through the K2 meter? Okay, what do you want to tell us? Okay, well, that's about all I had to say. It's getting kind of cold. We're going to leave now, okay? See you later.
James Mayer Jr. was a horrible man who lived a horrible life. I cannot understand how someone like that could live with himself. Maybe that is why he killed himself. I was glad to see him indicate that he was at peace. But then, he was a liar in life, and may very well be a liar in the afterlife as well. As a Christian, I forgave Mr. Mayer over 31 years ago for what he did to my family and me, even though he never apologized or sought my forgiveness. Others who he wronged, or who have heard about how he wronged people like me, aren't as forgiving as me. They say there is a special place in hell for miserable and despicable monsters like him. I will leave that up to God and sincerely hope that he made things right with his Maker. Just maybe that is what he was trying to tell us through the K2 meter near the end of the last video clip. In any event, this is Ghost Hunter Joe saying I hope you've enjoyed this video and see you next time.